and welcome back to another live stream video. Today, I know I'm some days past the big news day, but I wanted to collect my thoughts on the situation and see where I'm gonna go from here in regard to this game. But before I do that, real quick, I want to point out, when I was saying the phrase be respectful in the comments on the last time I talked about Helldivers 2, I'm pretty sure that meant be respectful. That means don't be an asshole. Don't act like you're right and everybody else is wrong. Don't do that because then that makes you look like an asshole. And I did say I was going to be deleting comments on anybody that is not going to be respectful and respect my wishes and be just as respectful to everybody else as they would want those same people to be respectful to them. I meant it, and somebody had to learn that the hard way. Whether they respond to another one of my on that video again or on this one is beyond me. But yes, I made my voice heard. I said I was going to do it, and I did it. But if it also goes to the point of going so far that it's not even funny, I will report the comment as well because I don't tolerate very much hate on my shit. On my videos, on my streams, none of that. Just so we're all on the same page here. Now, with that being said, let's talk about Helldivers 2. And if you hear any background noise, that's one of my dogs walking around in the house. So just so you guys know, that's what's going on in the background if you hear anything. But now, anyway, going back to the topic at hand, let's talk about Helldivers 2. For a bit of context, about a week ago, almost a week ago, Sony, through, the Helldivers 2 Steam page through Sony, announced that they were going to be doing a thing where they had Steam users link a PlayStation Network account for them to play Helldivers 2. Now, that pissed a lot of people off, particularly because this was a game that was very popular at this point, had some pretty high numbers for what it was worth, and about 3 months later, Sony all of a sudden was saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, we meant to do this too." Now, some people got upset about that, myself included, because of the fact that they waited until months after the game came out when it was very successful, that they were ultimately trying to get people to trying to get people to trying to get people to link to an account involving something that doesn't really have the best track record in regard to security. But they still wanted people to do it, but very many people were not accepting that, and they did not like that they were being forced to do that. And let's put into consideration here, this game for PS5 users already even has this added bonus thing where you gotta have PlayStation Plus membership as well as to get internet access for you to play the game. So if they were to try to go on through this, what's to say they weren't going to try to get people to buy PlayStation Plus memberships on top of that? That's just speculation now, but it's a good question to ask. It's like a what if kind of question. But anyway, with that all being said, so many people were very much against it, outside of some Sony fanboys. And before anybody says anything, yes, I am a somewhat fan of Sony. I do acknowledge their faults whenever I hear about it, and I know it's a very bad idea what they were doing. This was very much one of them. But I also will give them credit where it's due. This was not one of those moments. They definitely deserve the L in this one. They definitely deserve the loss. for this one. But so many people had their voices heard that the day of, like, on the day that I said what I said about what I was going to do in regard to Helldivers 2, literally 12 o'clock midnight the very next day, although I found out about it an hour later, Sony, through the PlayStation Twitter account, ultimately decided to double back and not have players link their Steam account with a PSN account for them to play the game, because so many people were very much against it. Now, with the Sony PlayStation fanboys, they were upset. They were somehow going off on this because other games were doing this thing. So why were people complaining about it now? The answer is very simple. When games do this sort of thing, like before the game comes out, they let their fan base know, okay, just to let you guys know, you're gonna need this in order to play the game. Like right off, like before the game comes out, we find out about it, so at least they gave us a heads up. Here, they waited until the game was they waited 3 months after the game's release, at a time where it was very much a popular game to play. They waited until 3 months after the fact to say something. Now, granted, they did say it was optional, for the time being, because they had other things they had to go through. Particularly, they had to try to make the game be more stable because they did not expect so many people to play the game as fast as the numbers were growing in regard to the game. But still, you would have. I don't recall them ever. I don't recall them ever saying anything about this thing even being optional. I don't remember that. I just remember it was probably put, if it was a thing, it was put on the back burner because of the situation they were going through. But yeah. But in any case, it is confirmed. Sony did talk about that, and they said they were going to double back and not do that. Because, like I said, people were upset about it because, it was so late in the game's life. Well, it was so late into the game's release that, people didn't think it was a good idea to do this. But on top of that, you had so many other Steam users who who did not have the capabilities of linking a PSN account to their Steam account. So instead of Sony trying to help the people out, if that, they decided to remove the game from Steam and give the people in those countries that do not have access to a PSN account refunds. And that was another problem. That's another question people are asking. So if Sony decided to not go forward with having Steam users link their PSN account, are they going to be able? Will the game be put back on Steam? The easy answer would be the answer people would want to hear would be yes. But the honest answer would be, who knows? It's really up to Sony. Because at the end of the day, they are the publisher and they do have the final say on what does or does not happen in regard to each particular game. So with that said, the easy answer is, I don't know. I hope they do, because if you take it out, if you remove it, then and you don't put it back, you're basically making this game that has made you a good amount of money on PC as well as on PlayStation 5, you're making it a PS5 exclusive. And to me, personally, probably not the best idea for business, especially when you're just now dealing with a lot of people who are angry at you for your business decisions. So how do you look? How do you do the damage control. Simply put, you put it back on Steam, you apologize to the Steam users for what you try to get them to do, and you try not to let it happen again. Now, if they wanted to do it to where you had to link a Steam account to a PSN account to play a particular game, they should have done it before the game came out, because then we'd be mentally prepared for it, we would be ready for it, we probably would not agree with it still, but at least you gave us a heads up for it, you know? Unlike doing it like how they did it here. Because when you do it late in the game, late in sometime after the game comes out, people are going to get upset about it because they were already playing a game that they just paid money for just a short time ago. So yeah, my take on it, I still think Sony messed up on this situation, and they have to do a good amount of damage control for people to even remotely say I might play the game again. Because right now, what I said before is still stands on my community post. I'm gonna be taking a week away from this game. Because so for this week, I was gonna do a Helldivers 2 week last week. I only played it twice. How ironic that I do that, and then this fucking shit happens, and then I say something about it, saying I'm gonna return the game by June 4th if they don't reverse the decision, and then literally the next day after I post it, we're reversing our decision, says Sony. So yes, it's been a hectic time for everybody here. But from my perspective, Sony has a lot of damage control they're gonna have to do if they're gonna gain the trust of Steam users again. And I do mean a lot. And even if they do it, that doesn't mean the Steam users are gonna be willing to forgive them for what they try to pull on them. Truthfully, they would have to do a lot for me to forgive them if I was in their shoes. But at the end of the day, Sony did admit they fucked up. They admitted they messed up in their idea that they had, and they did say we're not going to do this anymore. So who knows where we're going to go from here? So many people were saying if this didn't happen, if this wasn't fixed, they would leave the game, and I was one of them. But now that they fixed it, I will give them a week to see what they do. But for the time being, I'm not going to be playing the game that I thought still to this day is a fun game. Even if people may disagree with me for one reason or another. I still think it's a fun game. It's very reminiscent of Starship Troopers. I will stand by that idea. I will still stand by that opinion. But if you disagree with me, that's fine. This, what I said, is my opinion, and I'm not going to act like my opinion is the correct one and someone else's opinion who does not go with my opinion is full of crap. I'm not going to do that to them because I'm not an asshole. But with that said, I will reiterate what I said earlier at the beginning of the stream. If you're going to say anything in the comment section, please be respectful, because any disrespect will be met with that comment being deleted, or, if it goes very far, reported. It's such a simple concept. Just be nice, be respectful, learn the golden rule. If you don't know what the golden rule is, it's basically treat other people the way you want to be treated. So pretty much, if you want me to treat you with the respect that you claim you deserve, you better treat me with the same level of respect back. But if you treat me like an asshole, I'll treat you like an asshole. Simple as it gets. But yes, my thoughts. But basically, TLDR, Sony still messed up. They are now committing. They are now doing damage control. Let's see what they do to fix this whole mess that they literally put themselves in, and we'll see where we go from here. But as far as I'm concerned, I will be keeping the game. unless they do something really just as stupid, if not more so than this, somewhere down the line. But for now, the game is still going to be in my possession. I will still play the game after one calendar week from the day I made that community post, and I'm not going to be playing it for a week. So, yeah. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am curious to hear what you guys have to say about this whole situation. So please comment down below what your thoughts on the situation are if you have any you wish to share. But like I said twice now, three times now, if you're gonna say something, be respectful. Don't be an asshole. Because if you are acting like an asshole, I will delete your comment. And if you take it to a very big level of extreme, I will freaking delete it. So, with that all being said, thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day. And until next time, this is Forrest Walpole, signing off.